Hey everybody, it's Patrick Grosser with Fathom Realty. This is your Cincinnati real estate market update for week 3 of 2021. It's still a very hot seller's market. Inventory is very low. So if you're looking to sell your house, you may have heard that it's easier than ever to find a buyer for your house, but you may not know that it's actually pretty difficult to get that buyer to the closing table. At the end of this video, I'm going to explain why that is and what you can do to overcome that challenge and get your home sold quickly for top dollar. If you're buying a home right now or just starting your search, you may have noticed with inventory being very low, there's not many houses to choose from. It's more difficult than ever to find something you like. And if you do find something you like, it's actually very difficult to win that home because you may be competing in a multiple offer situation. So at the end of this video, I'll share some tips for buyers on how to find the house they're looking for and also how to win in multiple offers. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, you need to understand what's going on in the market so that you can compete with other buyers and sellers. So let's go ahead and jump into the numbers for this week as compared to this week last year. New listings are down 16%. That's discouraging for buyers with inventory already being low. Obviously, that's good news for sellers as inventory being low is to your advantage. Closings are up 6% versus this week last year, which is actually encouraging for everyone that there is actually more activity this week compared to this week last year. Average sale price is up over 14% once again this week. That's again compared to this week last year. That's of course good news for sellers. It's a challenge for buyers with prices continuing to rise, but the historically low mortgage interest rates will help offset some of that cost for buyers. Average days on market is down 38% compared to this week last year. That's an alarming number, but it's actually less of a decrease than we've seen in previous weeks. So it may be a sign that inventory is starting to pick up as homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer. We're not talking a big move, we're talking 1 or 2 days, but it may be a sign if this trend continues that buyers may have a little bit of an easier time finding the homes they're looking for. Speaking of inventory, the number for inventory has not changed because there has been more closings, but there's also been fewer new listings coming on the market. So that's actually stayed at 1.91 months of inventory, which is about 4+ months short of what we would need in inventory in order for buyers and sellers to be on a level playing field in terms of their negotiation leverage. If you're thinking about selling your home, or if you're in the process of doing that already, you may realize that it's easier than it was last time you did this to find a buyer for your home, but it's more difficult to get that buyer to the closing table. And the reason for that is because buyers are frustrated with their home search, they can't find what they're looking for. They tend to jump prematurely into contract on a home that they're not 100% sure about. And then they do the inspection, and of course an inspection is designed to reveal all of the flaws, whether they're superficial or major issues with the home. Every home has flaws. So the buyers tend to get cold feet at that point if they weren't 100% sure when they got under contract in the first place. So we're finding that although buyers are snatching up listings faster than ever before, they're also more likely to terminate the contract either due to indecision about what they want or due to some flaws they found in the inspection report. So either way, as a seller, you need to understand how to negotiate in that inspection contingency. What are some of the repairs that are most common that most buyers are going to ask for, that are repairs that you should do, that are legitimate, and that will actually help you to bring that buyer to the closing table. Because although you have the right to say no to all repairs or some repairs that you think aren't necessary, you have to consider what would another buyer, if you were to sell to another buyer and terminate with this one, what would another buyer ask for? Would they ask for the same repairs? And if the answer is yes to some of those, you need to make sure that you get those taken care of, that you agree to do those repairs before closing. Otherwise, you may find yourself back on the market, back under contract, 10 to 15 days later in the same position as you were before with the same repair requests, and you've just lost a bunch of time. And of course, with the holding costs, you've lost a bunch of money as well. If you'd like some advice on how to best navigate the inspection contingency as a seller, the best way to get that information, to reach out to me directly, is to click on the seller's link. This will give me a little bit of information about where you're coming from and what your needs are, and importantly to you, the best contact method for you that's most convenient. If you're in the market to buy a home right now, you're searching online, again, you found that inventory is very low, there's very few houses to choose from, and when you do find something you like, if you've been in multiple offers before, you know how difficult it is to win. So if you're a buyer in this market right now, the best way to win is to do a couple things. Number one, you need to get set up with a listing alert via the MLS directly. You can still browse online with your favorite consumer sites and apps, but the best and fastest way to get the information to make sure you get notified first is to get set up directly with a listing alert via the MLS. The second thing you need to do is have a strategy for how you're going to win in multiple offers. Of course, the purpose of you being set up with a listing alert directly from the MLS is to prevent you from competing with other buyers, because you can get notified of the new listing first, you can schedule your showing first, and you can get your offer in before anyone else has a chance to write an offer. But you need to prepare for the worst case scenario, which would be in a multiple offer situation, because sometimes it's simply unavoidable. So you need a game plan in place in terms of what your financing terms need to be. There are certain loan types that are more favorable for sellers than others. Also, you want to be prepared to write a personal note. And of course, for that, you need to know what things to include to tell the seller about yourself and what your interests are in their home to put you above and beyond what the other buyers are saying. And of course, the most important thing is to understand not only what's the price that the seller is looking for, but what other terms and conditions of the contract of the offer are important to the seller. By and large, most sellers are looking for the same thing, to sell as quickly as they can for as much money as they can, but sometimes they have different circumstances. They may want to actually move a little bit later than you would want to move in, because maybe they're waiting on their new home construction to close. There's many different scenarios that can happen, and the best thing for you to do is to understand what the seller really wants before you even draft that offer. If you'd like to learn more about some of the strategies that I use with my buyer clients to help their offers rise to the top, and also how I help them to avoid multiple offers by seeing the listing first, showing it first, and getting their offer in first, click the buyer's link. This will give me a little bit of background information on what you're looking for, and it will also tell me what your preferred contact method is, so we can continue this conversation in the most convenient way for you. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.